Boy, it feels like that's too high. Hello, this is Dave Gimberline, and today is October 19th. This is the asynchronous training video. It's just a video of us training in class, so you will get the most benefit out of it if you train along. Thank you. Line up. Ooh. So we're going to do it for a while. You know what I'm saying? No. Oh, bad news. This is the way dojos work. If you hang around a while, you work your. Oh my God! Now you're right in front.
I am a small orange belt.
Yeah, that's temporary.
I'm not ready for this responsibility.
Well, we'll work on it. As we discussed before, there's a way to stand, a way to walk, a way to sit, and this is sitting in seiza. You're going to go down with your left leg first, in control, and then your right one. My feet crossed because that's what I was taught. There are some people who only cross their toes. That bugs me. Miss Yama did this, Sarah did this, I did this. Lots of times you're just stuck with whatever somebody did for no reason. So now the way it works is you can just sit, and then everybody else will sit after you. Or you can say zap, like a command, and then you sit, and then they sit after you, but quicker. Oh, good job. Good job. Oh, excellent. Just like that. You have to sit up straight. And, you okay? Yeah. There's only 3 commands. Say makso, which is the meditation part. You should close your eyes, breathe in deep through your nose and out through your mouth. After a few breaths, you say yame, or some people say makso yame. I hear actually in some places in Japan they clap. People are like, whoa, okay, I'm ready now. It's a good little stimulant. Don't do that, it'll freak out. So you say makso, then you say yame. Then we have to bow. So you bow to the front, which is called a shomen. So that's shomeni rei. Uh-oh, I said there was only 3 commands, and now we're on 4. I'll help you.
I'm sorry, I know I've heard this a million times, I just cannot turn it on.
That's all right. No, too bad. Just like say myself. Alright, sorry, yame. Sure, louder though so people know.
Sorry. Yame?
Very good. Let's say shomeni rei.
Shomeni rei.
And say sensei rei.
Sensei rei.
Very good. For bowing, in most of Japan, you will be fine if you put down both hands and bow and come back up. There is, in the movies, this thing, you never take your eyes off your opponent. There's a little bit of truth in that for this kind of a bow. It's with respect, but why would you stare at the floor? You watch the person, and then you bow, and then you come back up. Now, I do one hand at a time because, again, Nishiyama taught that later. He didn't teach it the whole time, so somebody must have told him, and then he told everybody. Maybe part of the idea, they say, is I was wearing a sword, I need my sword handle. Up, up, up. Whoa. And then, so you only put it down for a second, but it's still a gesture of respect, right? You would. So I do left hand, right hand, and then right hand, left hand. But if you did both hands, you'd be fine. They kind of make a little triangle. Should bow slightly longer than the person who's ever senior. Just the way it is. But in the big picture, it's still just like shaking hands. You can shake hands too long. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, I'm so happy. Yeah, all right. Like, oh, that's good. That's good. Bowing is kind of like that. It's like, okay, that's enough. Right? Stand up. Oh, fine. Pick up one foot, go around with your ankle and toes. Switch, right? Other foot. Up your hips. Stretch. Use your legs. Pump your arms around. Stretch. Cross. Twist. Pick up your heels a little bit. Push feet apart. Stand up straight. Put your center reaching forward. Put your left hand up, right hand to your side. Punching slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out the arms again. So, at the beginning of class, when you start training, like now when we're just doing a few techniques, or after we're done warming up when we're doing some back and forth, it's not important that you try super hard. It's kind of more important that you try to get yourself in the groove. You want to be fixing little things that maybe when you go fast and you're doing combinations you wouldn't have time to do. So for punching, you'd think it's very simple, and yet almost everybody has stuff they can fix. Please make sure your elbow rubs along your side on the way out and on the way back. And part of the idea of the whole punch is, ideally, I hit out here somewhere, right? But what if something changed? Oh, I have to hit here. Well, you want to be ready for that. Some people, they punch kind of sloppy, and if they, whoa! I've broken my hand before in sparring, because you don't excite, well, bam, and somebody will punch you in the back of the hand. And if they do it one time, they'll do it 10 more times over the next couple days. I mean, it's like hitting your thumb. You're fine, boom, oh, crap, oh, good, boom, it'll happen again, it just does. So fix the little things so they don't become problems. All three of you have to keep your elbow down towards the floor. Don't let it rotate up and out. Your arms all hyperextend. So it's one of the worst things. It makes your shoulder in a bad position, your wrist and elbow in a bad position. If you miss, you can pop your elbow. If somebody blocks, you can pop your elbow. If you punch too fast, you can pop your elbow. It's an alignment problem. You want to pull down with your lats and squeeze your little finger and squeeze your lat, it helps. And keep it. They used to say, you can imagine one of two things. Your elbow is being pulled down towards the floor, or it's being pulled into your center as you punch. But if you release it, it comes up and out. You don't want that. So part of the idea is getting your body to work together. So try it again. Put your left hand out, right hand to your side. Slowly. 1. Elbows down, elbow down, elbow down, elbow down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here's weird, you can't stare at your hand, you have to look straight ahead. 1. Stand straight and tall. 2, 3. This part, oh no, grab the toes a tiny bit. Push this forward. Keep this. That's way better. 1. So you must have had some of this before, because you had it right at the beginning. 2, 3. You just have to do it with everything you do. Don't move right now. This is fantastic. This is extended too far. Your shoulder's weak. So put your elbow down. Squeeze here. Keep your head up. Head. Pull your elbow down. That's better. Can you feel the alignments better? 1. Oh, aha! Now pull this back. 2. Tap your hand like this. Do a half a punch. 3. And finish. Head up. 4. Here, maybe this side's worse. Your wrist bends a little bit, and it makes your elbow do funny things, and then it rolls up. Better? 1. Pretend there's a board that goes from here to here. You're going to take your elbow and just push the board out. 1. Bend. There you go. Turn. Elbow. 2. 3. Pull your arm more. So this is great from here down. This needs to be activated. Your elbow sideways and your arms too straight. Tight for extending. There you go. And pull your elbow towards the floor. So do this. Now keep this. Then slowly turn that over. 1. 2. You can reach a little further. 3. 4. This is good. Take this and lean forward a tiny bit. Lean back. So it's going to feel like the front half of your body takes this shot. That's better. You feel the weight there? So it's just a little. You were just a little too neutral, and this is a little too back. You're trying to get this forward. And then you leave this, and you put this here, and it feels like, oh my God, I'm going to fall into it. It's a little bit like that. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Now punch faster. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Guy. We have somebody on Zoom. This is fantastic. Is it Rachel? I can't see. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late and not in my key. I just got home.
Late like a month?
I know. Don't even get me started.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're here now.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Look, you know all these people. There's a new person over there.
Hi, new person.
That's Sarah. Can you see her over there?
Hey, Sarah. Hi.
She came with a friend, but not now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I wonder. Somehow I lost the ability to see multiple people at one time. It did work for a day. Oh, squatting. Lest you forget we were still warming up. Put your legs out behind you and arch. Push your hips back, touch your chest to the floor. Forward again. Feet in. Oh. Keep it up. Down and forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Reach over one shoulder. Switch. Side. Switch. Around. Switch. Oh, a little more training. Keep it up. You're going to twist to your left towards that corner and punch with your right hand and switch to a front stance. So I'm here to keep it up. It's 50-50. I'm going to switch to a front stance, 60-40, driving kind of towards that corner. 1. Then back to center, double punch. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. again. So this is tough because we're just getting warmed up. So, but as a concept, I want you to kind of get this. Of course, you have to change your structure from 50-50 to 60-40. Then most of you are trying, but a lot of you forget that foot. Just kind of hanging there. Try to pivot so it faces more the way you want to go. And then you have to pivot both again back to here and pivot this way. In this particular drill, it doesn't matter if your heel goes out or in, as long as you switch. So your alignment's good. But a basic thing about hitting things is you want this part of your body, your center, to hit the target. And a lot of you are here, and this part is getting left behind. You have to over-exaggerate to kind of get this to go forward and hit the target. So everybody can work on that just a little bit. Not at this moment, we're going to keep stretching, but you can think about it. You need to bend your front leg more so that you're committed to the stance. And it's a tiny bit. So the difference is kind of here. Yep, I'm standing in a stance. But there's not a to it where you're going to hit something. You're just standing there. And I'm sure this is true of everybody. So the problem is the better you get, the more they expect. So it's a terrible, terrible downward spiral of suffering and no, it's fine. You get better that way. So they just keep expecting more. Anyway, try one sentence this way. And over on the ball of your foot, drop your hip. Reach up. Open your arms. Twist. Look over your right shoulder. Touch your head to the floor. Let your front foot. And back up. We're going to stretch down towards your foot. Come back up. Drop down to the floor. Come back up. Stretch down to your foot. Stretch down to the floor. Come back up. Stretch down to your foot. Drop down to the floor. Turn. Other way. 1 cent. Follow your foot. Drop your hip. Reach up. Open your arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Twist. Look over your left shoulder. Drop your head by your foot. Come back up. Stretch down and touch your foot. Drop down. Back up. Touch your foot. Back down. Up. Touch your foot. And back down. Underneath. Straight leg squats. Switch. 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 And switch. Rotate. All the way over. Stretch the outside thigh. And back. Over. And back. Over. And back. Switch. All the way over. Switch the outside thigh. Back. Over. Back. Over. Back. Over. And back. Pull your feet in, slide. Straighten your legs, stretch down to the floor. Roll up. Round your hip. Switch. side. Squeeze one knee up into your chest. Switch, 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 and switch. Scoop your arm behind. There we go. Switch, switch, and switch. Take it out. Turn to your uniforms. Do you want a uniform, by the way, there, Sarah?
Yeah.
We have them. Before you leave today, I think you're going to stay just till like 7.
Probably.
We'll try to fit you out.
Okay. That helps too.
In your other system, did you have forms or kata?
Good ones.
We will probably do 1 or 2 of those today and see how they look. See if you can follow along ours. Maybe some of them might be very similar to what you did before. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's good because it makes it easy to remember. Sometimes it's bad because you only do it the old way and not the new way. It's very complicated. Whereas if you have something that's totally different, then you don't, your brain doesn't mess it up. Let's see here. Left leg forward. Get him a height. We started last time with some basics and we're going to continue. So we're going to step forward, basic oizuki, basic step and punch. Your hips and shoulders should be straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Push this part forward. Yes, on the head. So you don't want this to go to your shoulder, and you don't want it to go to your back. So you put your elbow down a little bit, remember, there you go. Now keep your head up, squeeze your inner thigh a little bit, and sink a little bit, there you go, there. So the weight sits between here and here. It doesn't go to your back, don't let it. Moving backwards, we're going to try rising block, angike. You're going to twist your hip, and make sure you just kind of cover your head and face. 1, twist. 2, twist. Yep, sorry. Right on my leg. Now when you go backwards, this kind of pulls into your center, and this crosses in front and covers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now make sure you're in a front stance, so your back leg points forward. Yep, but your hips are turned sideways. This way sideways. Yep. But not like that. 1, 2, 3. I am in. All right, rest for a second. So, when you do your punches and your elbows are along your side, a lot of other actions are that way too, and including the rising block. So you cannot let your elbow come out on your way up to, it's super bad leverage, better leverage. So, there are a few variations on the position and path. The one Nishiyama really liked towards the end was that you're punching somebody this way, and after you get up here, you spin and turn to a block. He liked that path. It could be that this is a little too much. People end up doing this. You still have to cover your head. But people try to do that, and then they stick their shoulder up and square out their arm. So this is just a bad angle. This is an ineffective angle. It's too much. It's got to be kind of between there. And if you ever have a wall, this might help. Your arm can't be outside your body. if you it goes inside, it goes along the same path. So can you kind of see that? That's good. You want to end up here. So we're going to try again. It is similar. There's a lot of positions that have come through this path that end up being in the right spot. If you hang around long enough and start to say, oh, I get it, these are all the same. And it helps. Try to get left leg forward, right? Moving forward, you're going to cover with your left, with this edge. And then you're going to pull this to your side as you do your right and left. 1. You cover with this one too. 2, 3, 4. Get on your back. 5. More turn and less wiggle. 1. Backwards. Turn your hips out. 1. Nope. The other side. You were right. 2. 3. 4. 5. Lord, your elbow comes away. Keep it in. 1. Better. 2. Hi, rest again. So we rotate on lots of stuff for 2 reasons. Mike, could you for a second? You can put your left leg, oh wait, finish mine. Your right leg right. And do an outside block. So now keep your hips straight, like you're facing me. Yep. This way, it's very hard to, his body still gets hit. He could block a little bigger, but there's still a big problem there. Now turn side, your body side. Oh, look at that. If your body turns sideways, that's too big. You just want it so that it skims right past punch or technique. And, so that's one reason. And it winds his hip and arm up for a counter punch. So you have 2. Whoa! He's ready to go. If he blocks with this, do it. I'll get you with your hips straight once. The other way straight. Yep. This is an awkward cover. It's not impossible. And it's sometimes you would do this if you do first straight. But now there's no hip or leg motion, counter punch. And it's very small compared to what you could have. So, punch. No, you got it. Line up, go. Yep, big like that. So, since we just did that, we will now do an outside block. We'll do this in place a couple times. The outside block is odd because it starts way up high, and the other hand's out. And then you're going to twist your body, and as your arm moves, your elbow starts to drop, so it ends up at shoulder height, give or take a little, covering your torso. People say, why is it up high? And biomechanically, it is similar to baseball or cricket or something where you have to hit something hard. They hold the bat up high with their elbow behind it because this is weak. It's not a good place to hit from. It's not impossible. This is better. Oh, better. Oh, it swings around and goes. So, after you learn how, a lot of things get smaller, but they kind of work because you learn the big action first, that you get what it's supposed to feel like. And this is one of these where very seldom, in actual practicality, we go 1, 2. We mostly go 1. It's just a little cover. But this big swing is going to teach you how to get shot from it. So anyway, something like this. Twist your hip, pull your arm to your side, and block. 1. Then stand back up and extend your right arm, pull it left. 2. Stand up. 3. Stand up. 4. Stand up. Not so far back, Michael. Yep. coiled. One. You have to cover this part. Hand lower. Elbow lower. Yes. So they say 1 or 2 fists. Kind of depends on your body. Too big. Yep. Stand back up. Stand by your ear. 1. A little bigger out. Back up. 2. Back up. Closer to your ear. So somebody once told me, years ago, in ancient times, when we had telephones on the wall, you remember this mystical time? And there was an actual rotary dial on it that you had to dial. There was a cord attached to it. There's only one phone in the whole house. But anyway, you would pick up the handset and put it to your ear. Bigger than the cell phones that you have. You'd hold on to the whole handle and stick it there. And so when people were having trouble learning to coil, he said, no, it's like answering the telephone, but upside down. Hello? Oh, hello? You answer it upside down. So I don't know why that stuck with me, but it did. And I see now that some of you have your phone over there and you can't possibly talk on it, so you have to put it down. Yes! There we go. Do your right arm. This way. Twist and blow. 1. Coil. 2. Coil. So stay where you are more. Like, don't move your center. You're going to spin on it this way. So you're not going this way. Or you're just staying here and spin. 1. Better. Back. 2. That's too much that way. So you're not so much trying to do a front stance as you are just learning to spin in place. Back. 3. That's way, way, way better. Back. 4. Straighten your wrist. Yep. Back. 5. Awesome. So, this bothered me for 2 reasons, and you fixed them. The first one, the body, what do I want to say? When you move, when you started here, you're together. When you moved, it's like you came apart. You did not move with one easy, this is like the easiest, you don't even have to go anywhere. But the part that was bugging me is you were moving in the same way that you were blocking. So, keep going here and stabbing. I know. How often do you do that? So if he stabs me and I block and I move this way, everything's okay. If I move myself this way, I'm just bringing this into the same, but that's what you were doing every time you moved, is you were pulling it into you. And a reason that it sticks out is when you get a partner, I've had people that, boy, what they do. They're supposed to block and move away. That's what it was. It was just kind of a block, and it was a simple drill. And this person blocked and pulled me right into them, and then, they got mad because I kicked them, but it was totally an accident, and they pulled me in, and afterwards they said, I figured that out. They were doing the wrong move for the wrong block. So some basic stuff kind of matters. The only odd thing is if you turn these into strikes, then you're back into moving the same way that you're hitting in that spot. So anyway, we're going to move forward now and do an outside block. I'm going to do it in 2 counts because I like it. Your first count is going to be that you coil your arm and you move your legs 3/4 of the way through the technique, and this hand extends. So you go to here, that's 1. And then you twist your hip, and that's 2. Do not do this, and then this. Also, don't do this, and then this. No, you have to do it at the same time. So, move your foot and your hand, and then the second count. Left leg forward, left arm up in a block. Coil your arms and step forward. still up in the air because you're not done stepping. Finish your step and twist. 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Go straight more. Pull your ground arm back more. Sorry, this one. 1, 2. Awesome. 1, 2. Don't arch your back. Yes, it has to take this weight. Straight down, and turn. Down arch your back. Yes, better. So that's straighter. 1, 2. 1, 2. Up for just a moment. Now you rest your legs. So somebody put up a video of this, so I'll try to talk about it for a second. The idea of moving with your spine straight is very important in all legitimate martial arts and dance. And your head's up, your spine is straight, your pelvis is underneath you, it doesn't wobble. But it turns out that your spine is naturally curved. So it's not really straight, not like the Shotokan. It's got a curve at the top, it's got a curve in the middle, it's got a curve at the bottom, it sticks out. You're supposed to leave that. So you want to stabilize it the way it is, not, oh, there, now it's straighter. No, that's not good. That's not good for your posture, it's not good for your body. But more common for you two, and probably you, is that when you do stuff, your butt sticks out because your chest and arms are doing the job, or just because, I don't know, that's what feels natural. That's better. So you're a very strong person, and yet you're putting yourself in a very weak position. So yeah, just that little bit of squeezing together will help keep you stabilized. And where I pushed on you before, the pressure goes to here, this muscle that can hold you in your legs, not here in your back, where push you over. Super common. It is one of the problems with having a locked back leg. So a lot of styles. Lock your leg out. In my day, somebody used to come stand on it. But that doesn't make it useful. It just makes it stiff. So you want it to be useful so you can hit with it no matter what you do, which means slightly bent. If you lock up your elbow, as we've already discovered today, it doesn't make your punch very stronger. It's got to be just a little natural bend to it to work. So a lot of this is to make techniques stronger and safer. A lot of it's to make it more efficient. And a lot of it is for your longevity in karate. You do things that put your shoulders in weird places or your hip or your knees, you'll wear it out in a relatively short period of time. So, pay attention and keep your body straight, but not really straight, just the right kind of straight. See that? How I summarize it all down into just one complete thing. Don't arch your back. Don't arch your back, don't arch your back. Rachel, don't arch your back. Quit smiling, you're supposed to be training. Okay, here we go. Step backwards. Step back with your right leg left with your left arm. 1. Now continue backwards in 2 counts. On the first count, you prepare your arms and reach with your foot. 1. And then you pull your drawing arm down into your back leg and twist. 2. 1. 2. Twist more. 1. Reach a little more. So, although your foot goes back, this goes forward. Yes. I'll like tuck under a little bit. So there's your front sink up. Yes. Your body's still holding you. 2. Spin. Aha! Good job. 1. Other arm. That one coils, that one's up. 2. Make this go forward. 1. 2. Your back shoulder is up, pull it down. More. Yep. 1. Wrong hands. 2. Hey. Okay, we're not going to keep doing that slow, we're going to go a little quicker. Going backwards, I talked about arching your back. Almost everybody sticks their butt out at some point. And it will help you to realize somebody's trying to punch you in the face. So this should move right away. Not 1, 2, no, you'll get hit. This ability, though, is interesting going backwards. You need to keep this together. There's only so far you can reach. If I reach further than this, my butt comes out. It just does, because you're only so close. So reach as far as you can, and then when you twist, there's actually a little extra room. You can go back a little further, because your hip has some width. But your back, knee, and foot should point towards the target. And when I say that, it's maybe 30 degrees, and your knee is directed forward rather than directed out. And it's not that one is wrong and one is right. I always used to think that, because the Jama would teach this way, and the whole rest of the world would go this way and then switch. And his explanation was that if you let your knees move around when you're doing techniques, it lacks efficiency. It's like rowing a boat without the oar lock. And I don't think that helped very many people, but it helped me tell me, okay, I have to figure out how to do this without twisting my knee out, without inhibiting my motion. It was a study. How do I keep it aligned towards the target and still turn sideways? But what I discovered is, it's not that one person's right and one person's wrong. There's 2 different reasons. If somebody is going to hit me, you get to hit me again. Oh wait, maybe longer than me. Oh, you're not going to hit me this day? Oh, awesome. You're just going to go bang. If I'm going to take this shot, I have to bend my leg, take the impact, this is power, and then come back and hit. If I have properly, just nice and easy, I change my distance, I just need it for a second. I don't need power, I need precision. So, javelin. Here, if I need power, this is the way to go. But now I'm too darn late as far as countering. If my precision is right, I will keep this just on her, boom, and I'll come back without any time. She'll still be trying to hit me, and I'll get her while she's still reaching. So, they're 2 different things. But I think most people don't figure that out. They just do it the way they're told. I do believe this is less efficient and slower, even though some people are super fast at it. But I also believe it's stronger. You can take more of a shot, and then go on to the next thing. So, 2 different purposes, so stick with this one for now until I tell you different. But occasionally in a kata or in a drill, you're supposed to be this way or this way instead of this way. So you just have to learn when. The other thing has to do with effective distance. If you step and punch, and I block it, I can't hit him without some kind of substantial movement. But I can keep myself safe here and switch my feet this way to a back stance. And now I can easily hit him without shifting. I just have to twist and hit because I got the distance. So this and this are the same distance, but 2 different strategies, 2 different positions. And more if you have a different stance or a different angle. I'm just saying there's a reason sometimes some positions are some way. So, it seems, by the way, the COVID stuff is mostly breathing somebody else's air. But yet, if I'm close enough to touch your arms and stuff, we should wipe off when you have a break or when you grab the stick and I grab the stick.
Yeah.
It's a minor thing, but we want to do it. And I try not to do it. I try not to do it a lot, though. But if I forget, and if you don't want me close to you, you can say, don't say that close to me. In fact, always in life, if you want somebody standing so close to you, you can just say, I don't want you standing so close to me. Move away from me. And that's something that's not sometimes taught in our society, although it might be more acceptable nowadays, because we got that whole 6-foot rule going on. People should have had that 6-foot rule the whole time. Nobody ever told. Anyway, left leg forward, outside block, right? Moving forward now in one smooth action. You're going to pick up your back hand, coil, sweep your hip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Push your hip. More. 5. Backward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Amen. This is one of my favorite things to tell people. Lauren. If Lauren, come up here a little bit, and put your left arm out like you're blocking, and step backwards, outside block like we just were, and watch your feet. 1, here's foot drag. 2, that's slower than it should be. You're not using your inner thighs enough. You're actually moving your hip first, that shifts your weight, and it makes you just a little bit slower. So it is so easy to fix. 1, 2, 3, look at that. Quick as that. Right? So just pretend somebody's going to mess with your feet every time you move them. And in reality, it's going to slow it down. That was very good. Slightly pick your heel up. And now your foot's easy to move. If you drag it, though, you're stuck. And it's even a thing you can track. If you're sparring somebody or messing with them, you can see it. Uh-oh, you just touch their foot and they'll fall over. So, good job. Thank you for letting me do my favorite thing. Left leg forward, outside block. This is called a Shotokan in our style. Although it's a point of argument. Because it does mean outside block. But some people call this an outside block because it moves to the outside. We call this an outside block because it comes from the outside. I didn't make it up, it's just the way it is. Moving forward. 1, 2, 3. With speed. Now we're moving. I was going to do back stances and a kata, but I don't think we have time. So then we can do some kicks. I think we're doing hand shotokan. Michael and Sarah, can you trade places? Thank you. And you can go backwards as I step, in the middle a little bit, and forward a bit. That's good. So, this particular kata is the first kata that people learned historically. When karate was taught more in private, it was the second kata. In Okinawa, they taught this first. 1, 2, 3. And then when they came to Japan, when Kochi changed it to this second one. Because he thought it was easier for kids to remember, and I think that he was right. However, I think this one was a self-defense kata, and the second one was much more kihon, basics training. But still effective if you know what to do with it. So, we will just start and see how it goes. It's going to have moves in it that you have not had explained to you yet, but I just got a feeling you're going to be fine. Feet together, rock. Hand shot. Hand shot. Good. So we'll go through it once, and then we'll break it down into parts. Stepping to your left, basic downward block. 1, 7 punch, 2. Then way behind you, your right foot and right arm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, right shoe block. 1, 2, 3. You're going to turn this way and do a downward block. 1, 2. 1, 2. Back to the back. 1, 3 7 punches. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to turn and do a knife hand block and a back stance. So really, your front leg stays the way it is, but you turn and put your hand and foot out this way. 1. That's it. More. And then you reach 45 with your left hand and block that. 2. With the same hand and foot, block that towards the mirrors. 1, 2. Make it straight. There. Well, there you go. That's the first kata. How'd you like it? Do you have anything that's like that?
Yeah, kind of like open hand blocks and stuff.
Okay.
When you have an open hand block.
Yeah.
Like this instead of like this.
Yeah. Wait, you're also like this, or you're like this?
Like this.
Okay.
And then back stance too.
Ooh. So did you used to do Tang Sudo?
I did, I don't know, the like studio, it's called National Karate.
Oh. She's like your sister in arms. So yeah, they're a split off of Taekwondo. It's Americanized. So yay. So some stuff will be very similar, some stuff will be way different. The reason I asked if it was Tang Sudo is Tang Sudo is the Korean pronunciation of Karate Do, and it came from Funakoshi's early teachings in Japan. And it was exactly the same until the war ended, and then the Koreans and Japanese hate each other, so they changed everything to make it different. And then they exported it to the United States, and it changed again. So the earlier forms are very, very close to the same thing. Not true for all Taekwondo. Taekwondo is the official name that encompasses like 20 different Korean arts, and some of them were heavily influenced by the Japanese, some of them not so much. But Tang Sudo, Kuksu, Wan, I don't know, lots of arts like that. And they got, the government said, well, we're going to call it all Taekwondo, and you're going to join it, and okay, it's our official martial art. Okay. So they all changed. Except not all changed. Some of them said, screw you, we're not doing that. And they stayed the way they are. For good or for bad. But anyway, try again. So this kata is in the shape of a capital letter I. Some people call it an H kata because of the shape. They're confused because the center strip is long and the ends are short. So it helps for orientation. There are simpler kata than this that are called teikyokus that are just block punch, block punch, block punch, block punch. It's the same technique, and they do 3 different ones. And University of Shotokan just never did those because they thought it was just overkill. We already have enough kata. Stan Shotokan is already simple enough. I tend to agree. You start here at the bottom of the eye. You go this way, boom, boom. You do the other short stem, they put this in there and mess with it. And then you do this block in the front, you go down the long stem. Boom, boom, boom. And you have the top of the eye to do this way.
Attention where bonus. A few reminders. Please wear a mask covering both your nose and face at all times. Wipe down equipment before and after use, and keep 6 feet apart from others. Thanks for visiting Rockwell today.
And then you go back down to where you came from. Here with breathing. 1, 2, 3. So you're about where you started. Then you have the 4, 9, 10 blocks. Going that way, and 45. So you go here, and 45, and here, and 45. Okay. Up. Hands around.
Hands up.
Boy. Relax your shoulders, make your hands a little heavier. 1. Hip sideways. Yep. So this comes here and brushes right up past. 2. 1. 1. Up. Better. Hip sideways. Then somebody grabs. 2. Pull it away. This one. So you were here. You pull back, and then you strike down with the hammer. Strike. Yep. A little bigger. The 7th one. 3. Good job. Then go to the front. 1. Hips just a little more sideways. The other side. 3 rising blocks. 1. Reach. Twist. Twist. 2. 3. Your elbow is outside a little too much. Yep, but now not this way. This way. Yep. You gotta be able to see. 1. 2. 1. 2. 1. 1. 2. 3. 1. 2. 1. 2. So I was going to tell you that your stances are looking way better. They're a little longer, a little more committed, so it looks like you were doing that on purpose. And then, as I was watching, what I thought were beautiful stances, I saw that your legs are not that bad, but there's a sensation of letting your weight drop into your bones. Boom, that's solid and it transfers. And the more you go boom, and you're losing that chop. So, hardest on the turns, but a lot of people have trouble with it on the step and punches too. Because something has to give. I can't keep my foot this way without my heel coming out. I can't turn my foot first because I said you can. But you could sometimes, but not when you're trying to strike someone. So there is a karate, I want to say myth, a karate oral tradition that tells you spin on the middle of your feet. That's the answer. If you say, do I spin on the ball of my foot? They go, oh, you spin on the middle of your feet. But people don't. So here, for instance, I spin on the ball of my foot for this part, and the heel for this part. Anything that moves me towards the target. If I spin on my heel here, it's not that bad, it puts me off balance a little bit, but the ball of the foot, I'm going to lose this much drive because my foot went the wrong way when I want to go this way. So training the little stuff matters. But there is a time that you pivot on the middle of your foot. And by the middle, they kind of mean here, in front of this bone. And that's your 7 punch. So when I move forward, my heel gives a little and my ball foot gives a little. That's the middle of my foot. Oh. But if I get bound up, something comes up and down. So try to settle into your feet. There's one more thing about that. The sensation should be that your leg is driving you forward through the whole thing. And if you find yourself doing this, it means for part of it you weren't driving through it. You were just riding along with it. So a little bit is a difference in how your muscle works. And if everybody could come over to this wall for a moment and put one hand on it, not a great choice because this wall moves. If I push with my back foot, I can make it more and more tense so it feels like it gets bound up, or I can sink into it and just let it sit there flat. That sitting part is the sensation you want when you hit something. You kind of see what I mean? It's the same as true of a stretch. Put both hands up there. So push the wall harder. Now just let the wall sit on your leg. That's better. Slightly bend it a little. No, that's better. Just sit along that line. Not push it off. So you are crooked on the inside. Put both hands up. You gotta get this underneath you more. Better. Now move this in just a tiny bit. So it feels like your heel and your inner thigh and your center are in a line coming out your heel. Pretty good. That's way good, Lord. All right. Well, it was great having you.
It was so good to be back. I will listen someday.
Cool.
My research isn't right now.
What are you learning? I forget.
I'm in the third year of my PhD, and I'm running a lab experiment and a field study right now.
And what's it about?
Wastewater treatment.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's just, I'm literally working 12 hours.
All right. Well, training would be a good break then, one would think.
Yes.
All right. Well, cool.
Making more intentional efforts.
Well, it's awesome to see you. Come on back.
I will.
All righty. Bye-bye. Yes?
You got to spin. So this leg is always straight. You got to spin. So do you mean spin by sort of
A little bit your heel and a little bit your toes.
a little bit okay.
So it's easier here to let me get it. So. Sorry, let me put it in for a second. I need helpers that are awake. Is there so she's kind of tall. She's not all that tall. Yeah. Don't drink the 3-inch. What do you think? I think a 5 would be good. You have a 4? You guys are only because you're tall. No, right. Oh, wow. It does shrink just a little bit. And you can still hold up quite a bit. I know what I want to do here. Why is it working? So here, through you. Alright, so maybe even start a little more shallow, a little taller. That's good. And just slowly, feel your foot on the floor, but step forward. Now, take a real step. So your left one stays. You're going to step forward with your right. Oh, okay. 1, 2. So try not to do the little switch at the beginning. 1. Better. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So the only real rule is you don't want to do it first and then go. Because it builds a telegraph. Like, oh, here it comes. Unless you're practicing, there are times when you have a hold of somebody, you're going to switch your foot first and then you're going to go. So that's different. So you want to initiate without moving your foot. But anytime after that, you can move. As long as you can maintain your forward drive. So.
I think I get used to spinning on the ball of the foot. Then the heel went up. I'm trying to think about it.
Ready?
Oh, this way.
Try to move this. So here, you let the full hand down. I got my front foot where I want it. I don't want to do this. And that's kind of what you want. And you do that little switch. It's like you grab from your center and drop. Right. But there is a big change. It just has to keep pushing. So you pull a little harder. So here I don't got it. Don't got it. Okay. Whoop. Go. Oh. As long as I'm driving the whole way through. So stretch bands work if you have access to them, but they have to be pretty heavy duty. The rubber band. Yep. This works just your own training. You start paying attention because now you know. The more you pay attention, the more you do. So in busted eye, let's say here, I spin on my heel.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I do. You still lost it a bit towards the end. Good. So it's not a separate thing. That's better. So it's the same deal where I've got pressure here. I'm going to keep it as I go this way. Pressure. Go. Better. Now, there you go. That gives you direction too. Then you do your other arm. And now you can spin it your heel again. Boom. Now you did it like 3 times. You moved it, and then you moved, and then you moved it again. This continuous drop from here to there. So you pull your arm. Almost, but you still have 3 or 4 switches. So you are now going, and it's just the same one that you have. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Better. Still have a little ripple, but way better. And then you have to pull the other one. 2, 3. Fine. So all the way through different things, we can look at it. Thank you. Step head, step stomach, front kick, shift jab, shift punch. All right. Nothing to it. So the attacks seem relatively straightforward. The kumite ones are a little harder. What tends to happen, like you assessed it before, is we bow, we keep this distance though for now. and you just establish a position, you're standing in a second position. Yep. And I would say, Joda, and when you're ready, you say, hi, and you would do it with defense, 1, 2, yep, and we'll go back. Chuda, stomach, hey, boom, boom. And put your arms up and do Maigari. Maigari. Yep. So, and then there's the kumite ones. We're both in fighting stance. And I say, Joda, I'm going to jab with my lead hand. And we move around a little bit. And then I launch it. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. And counterpoint thought, Gyakuzuki Chuda. Yep. So the things to learn in the basic ones, let's just talk about attack for a second, are to do a good, solid, committed technique that is still threatening. So if I'm stepping and punching at you, and I go like this, I have no angle, no direction, no intent. So you should fear that if you don't move, Joda, boom, I'm coming, I'm going to do something. So those are the steps. There's nothing tricky about it. It's their only job is to supply a good attack. Now that continues to the kumite ones, where we're moving around, but it's not realistic for me to go, Joda, because I didn't even try. I have to shift a little bit to get to where she is. So what I want to say, some people think this is really tricky, and I'm going to fake. No, there's no fake. You're going to maybe test the distance a little bit, test how she moves, and then just apply another good attack like you did on the stepping punches. Because it's really her job. You have to do good attacks, but it's more for the defender to learn and demonstrate that she understands what she's doing. Not everybody understands that, and you will find people who try to be too tricky. And if that happens and I'm testing, I'll tell them to stop that. But even the same kind of stuff at Shodan level, it's not that much different. There's a designated attacker, there's a designated defender. You're just supposed to supply a good attack. You're not supposed to trick over the score. The defenses from standing are a little bit more, historically, they're supposed to be symbolic of self-defense. I don't think it's the world's greatest self-defense, and yet you better learn self-defense dynamics from them. My big complaint is that the kata demonstrates defenses that move forward or go in, and the kumite has defenses that go backwards. It's a totally different thing. The moving backwards has to do with understanding distance, position, and timing that will eventually evolve into sparring. The self-defense is destroying the guy's forward momentum and winning. There is no shifting, no game to it. If he initiates, you hit. It's a simpler thing, and yet I feel like all of the kumite training disrupts the understanding of self-defense. It gets in the way. It took me a long time to decide that because there's people that argue. So the big argument nowadays, let's say, because it's evolved over time, is, well, it's not real if it doesn't work in the ring, in the MMA ring. If you can't make it work there, it doesn't work. Well, that's not true at all. You're unlikely to be attacked by an experienced MMA fighter. And if you are, you're not going to follow the rules. Okay, so eyes, ears, nose, throat, groin, anything you can do to damage the person. It is true that the MMA experience gives you a lot more tools of grappling, throwing, pinning, striking, and a sense of realism in that you're getting hit and being hit, and hitting. But it is not representative of self-defense unless somebody says, I'm going to come over there and kick your ass. Now you know. There's no question, right? Here I come. So now, whatever training you got, that's fair. But usually, it's not that, bam, some guy will hit you,